been a blessing for you to be a part of this team, man. And now you're becoming a personality on the show, which is, it's been, that's important to me because I love doing things that I love with my friends at the same time.
It's the best.
So,
and it's fun. I cause like for the journey, obviously I'm like the general of that.
Sure.
So I'm usually like at the helm of the ship and stuff, but now it's like cool to almost like play like Robin sometimes. And it's just a totally different, it's like a different podcast for me, like when I do stuff like that. So I enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's this beautiful dynamic because it's kind of like our podcast is more like democratized with our team. There's no like, of course, like you guys come to me for like final say on a lot of stuff, but I just trust, this is my outlet to really focus on how do I trust my team to do things, because everyone that's hired on this team is better than me. At every single thing that I've hired you guys for. I'm just designed to be this guy that sits in front of a camera and asks good questions,
right?
Which is a super valuable thing, but also this would never happen if people didn't know how to record or ideate, bring these things to life. So just super appreciative of you, Ella, Bobby, everyone that makes this thing happen, man, because it's been fun. Because in normal business and all my other businesses, at times you can kind of brute force your way through it, and you can be kind of in that general zone. And in this is like more of my infinite landscape that I don't even know what negative repercussions could come from it. So I'm allowing myself to feel more free. And it's showed up a lot in my other business to just truly trust my team. Right. And the less that I try and be that general, the more the business produces, which has been a pretty cool paradigm.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good skill set that you have and just attribute. Because when I first came on, you were like, when it comes to podcasting, you go, you're my boss. You literally said that. And now I've worked with a lot of clients, right? And I've had people that make more money than me, maybe had more followers than me, maybe had, in their eyes were more successful than me. But they would still want to be my boss for the thing that I'm better than them at. And that's why you're paying me. And that's why you brought me on, because the person you had before me wasn't good.
Yep.
But then I come on and then you still try to tell me what to do. And I think that's just a really good, just attribute that you have. Because I think so many people that are quote unquote successful don't know when to delegate and when to just trust on like, hey, like this isn't my strong suit. I'm going to trust the expert in this field. And you'll see so much better results. Yeah,
and I think that's it segues into kind of the topic that we wanted to talk about, because this is not something that came natural to me initially. Like you got to screw it up for a little bit of time. So the first couple of years, I was hiring because I wanted like, how can I get the cheapest labor? And what ends up happening is when you try and hire the cheapest labor, you end up not getting the people that bring the best output, which then doubles down your time as the leader. Because now not only do you have to manage them, but you got to train them, you got to do all these different things. I've shifted the paradigm, and having a lot more cash flow helps with it, but shifting the paradigm to hiring what I call super who's, people that are like the next level. And so I hire people that want to be led, but don't want to be managed, that can be more autonomous and self-managing. So I don't have to really worry about what they're doing on a day-to-day, because the results speak for themselves.
Right.
That's not cheap, but the price and the cost are two different things. That's something that we can get into, because if I pay a cheap price now, I'm going to pay a really large cost later. The more price I can pay on the front end, typically, the more fruitful I can get on the back end.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. So. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was talking to you about, like before the pod. And I was like, bro, I had this thought driving here today. And I have that same mindset, and I think you can correlate that to life. And I've been thinking about that a lot, of just, at what cost? These things that you're doing in your life, maybe the toxins that you're putting in your body, whether you smoke, you do nicotine, you drink, right? At what cost? And I was like, it's really just like a crazy paradox of life, because it's like there's so many things that we can do that give us quick fixes, that get us by, right? But in the end, the price we're going to have to pay, instead of maybe being a little bit more disciplined now, or maybe sacrificing a little bit, or maybe not having like a great time right now, or feeling good for this moment, it's going to be so much better for us in the long run. But there's so many people that are hurting, that are afraid, that they don't want to face their fears, or they're just searching for something like in a hopeless place. And I was like, wow, like really, there's so many negative things in our life that we do for quick fixes, and we don't understand the cost that we're going to have to pay down the road. Yeah. And I thought about that because, like, I'll do the nicotine pouches. Like, dude, those just came out. In 20 years, if I continue doing that, I could have mouth cancer, right? People that drink excessively and all these things. And then I even related it to my mom. And I was like, because not only, right, say something happens to me, say something in your 20s that you have a bad habit that it's not good for you and you're using it as a quick fix. At what cost? You want to have a family down the road. Now, what if that child, because you had a bad habit and you were undisciplined and you didn't want to sacrifice and put down a bad habit, now what if that child loses their parent when they're 12 years old and you're in your 40s because you didn't have the discipline to stop fucking smoking when you were a kid?
Sure.
Right? And I thought about my mom and I was like, by no means do I blame my mother at all. Different time, grew up in the 80s, cigarettes were cool, right? My mom smoking cigarettes her whole life led her to have lung cancer for me to grow up without a mom. And I was just like, whoa, like at what cost? Was like that addiction of nicotine worth you losing your life and now your son growing up, right? And I'm not saying that to like blame my mom at all, but I think we need to think about that, especially like in our 20s right now. Like the things that we're doing now not only are going to affect us in the future, but they're going to affect everyone around us and our future family. So I think, yeah.
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
There's a million different ways I want to go. Like I had 50 different responses to everything that you had just said right there. I want to start on just identifying the simple stuff where you can identify this in your life, and then let's go to the next level. So I'll just use myself in this example, right? You know, cheap dopamine is half the time of what we're looking to chase, right? Things that are pretty inexpensive, that have no real, it's a very cheap price now, and you don't really see the cost of it early on. Things compound. So have you ever read The Compound Effect?
No, but I'm aware of it. Dude. And I remember you talking about it when we were in Miami a lot. Dude,
amazing book. Premise is basically momentum compounds, rather positively or negatively. And negative momentum compounds a lot quicker. So you have to battle to continue to build positive momentum. So when it comes to what we're alluding to, at what cost, let's talk about for guys, jerking off, right? Pretty harmless thing in the short term, right? We know obviously the negative effects it has on the brain now, but pretty cheap dopamine that you don't really receive negative effects, right? For someone who has been, porn addicted for a long time, sex addicted for a long time, that compounds now. Like I wasn't able to sustain a long-term relationship. I wasn't able to have intimate sex, all these different things. And you don't even realize the cost until all the negative consequences come up. And I think part of it is like, that's the learning experience of life, right? Hindsight's 20/20. And you have to, especially as men, have your own proverbial hand on the stove. No matter how much you tell me that this thing's bad for me, I'm going to have to experience for myself to some degree, right? Same thing with smoking, right? You probably aren't going to get lung cancer in a year, right? There's people that have smoked for 60 years and are extremely healthy, right? So where I think it's because those things are obvious, right? And I'll talk about kind of how I've been able to create solutions around them. But I think what's even more dangerous is winning and not knowing why. The price that you're paying to win and define a version of success that's not actually the true version of it. So for example, the price I paid to get to where I'm at today in business, right? I thought this is what I wanted when I started this thing when I was 22, was to make millions of dollars and to build these grand things. And the price I paid was not cheap. I was putting myself through torture pretty much every day. And the cost was even more grand because I woke up one day receiving everything that I thought I wanted and being absolutely miserable at the same time. So think about how fucked up that is. Because you can get the perfect outcome that you're looking to get and still pay a massive cost and pay a shitty price. Right. So it's a paradigm in life where it's I think the solution for me, and I'm not qualified to go real deep into this, but something that I'm studying because as I get into quantum physics a lot more, because I think that's like how God basically gave us his laws. Like, here's the scientific way of achieving what I want you to do, which is quantum physics in my opinion. We need to be living in the future more. Most of us use the past as a way to fix the present, and we don't use the past as a tool to just objectively look at it. We keep living in the past. But if we start living in the future, we can start recreating the present right now, which is super crazy paradigm. And I'm like I said, I'll probably stay surface level onto it because I'm deep studying it right now. But if I can step into the future and get very, very clear on what I'm looking to achieve, it makes my present actions a lot easier. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. And kind of what you said, like, you paid a high price, you put yourself through torture to get this thing that you thought you wanted, but it wasn't even what you really wanted. It was what other people told you that you should want at this point in your life. And I think that's like a key indicator is like, one, determining what we actually want. You know, do I really want this or this lifestyle or this amount of money or this type of girl? Or is it more an outside perspective that people are going to look at me a little better? I'm going to get judged in a different way, right? So I think we allow outside opinions to come into that. And also, I have shower thoughts. I know you've talked about a lot. I think that's for me too. I remember like Jake used to like yell at me sometimes and be like, bro, why you take 40-minute showers? I'm like, because that's the only time I don't have my phone. And I can just sit in here. It's like my own meditation. And I do that driving sometimes too. I really like doing that. Like just completely shutting off all the music, not on the phone, just driving, right? And I think you get a lot of downloads that way. And then I thought about this, and you're talking about, living more in the future. And I think that's good. But at least for me, I think there's so many times in my life where I want to be somewhere else. I want to be anywhere else but here in this moment. I'm always thinking, I want to be there. Like this isn't good enough right now. And I thought about that with driving, where I feel like driving in traffic is like a very cool correlation to like your life's purpose. Because when you're in traffic, right, you see these people that are like weaving in and out of traffic, trying to force their way, right? But you're not going to get to your destination any faster. Like you might save a minute, but you're increasing the odds of getting into an accident, killing yourself, killing somebody else, right? So like at what cost, right? What am I going to try to force this situation, or can I just be present right now? I'm going to sit in 20 minutes of traffic, whether I like it or not. Let me not try to be somewhere faster than I need to be, because we don't know the repercussions of when we try to take life into our hands. And I was like, wow, like that's kind of like our lives. There's a lot of times that we want to get somewhere faster than we should.
Well, the funny paradox is that the entire time we are spending to get to where we want to be, we realize everything we ever wanted is immediately available. How fucked up is that? Right? It's what I've come to find is that, especially in entrepreneurship, this whole thing you're chasing, you constantly test, battle this way, fail here, succeed here, just to realize everything you ever wanted was right there in front of you. And it can be amplified by attaining success in all different verticals, but every single thing that you ever want is really, it's not the thing, it's the feeling obtained, that you attribute to the thing. So nobody really wants a Ferrari. They want the feeling of what it feels like to be in a Ferrari. So like, when you reverse engineer that, you start to ask questions of like, why do I want that Ferrari? And is it external? Do I want that to get somebody else's validation, or does that truly make me happy? And if it truly does, then go buy the damn Ferrari. But if we don't create enough space to actually figure that out, then we're just kind of living on autopilot and renting somebody else's version of success to constantly keep up with the Joneses. That's where, in my opinion, that saying comes from. So that's where like that creating space stuff is such a big thing. I used to hate anyone that you like, hey, we're going to create space. I thought you like, if you were like all about like creating space, I thought you had to be like liberal or gay. If oh, creating space, like what were we at, yoga class or something,
Right.
Then I started to understand what happens when I pause for a second. That doesn't mean I'm losing momentum because I'm not going, because I could be seriously eroding my momentum by constantly going so fast. So like, you ever hear about like slowing down to speed up? Just like slow the hell down so you can make more calculated decisions. So right now I'm in a season of radically decommitting to anything that's no longer serving me, to the point where like so radical, every time I look at my phone, if I ever touch my phone, my new rule is that I have to subtract one thing, whether it's an app, a previous note in my life, a picture, an Instagram follow, or anything like that. Because the way that I'm trying to look at it is like, if I can decommit to things that no longer serve me and I just kind of simplify my life, how cool is it that I could create new commitments from this new frame? I almost get a fresh start. I'm a little bit less naive. I'm a little bit more mature, a little bit more experienced, and I can take this next level of commitment and probably turn decades into days when it comes to realizing my vision, realizing my goals, and probably getting one step closer to a life that actually is like fulfilling for me. That makes sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes the best thing you can do is do nothing.
Which is probably, and it's the hardest thing too.
It's the hardest thing because we think that we always like need to be doing something, but it's like, I saw this. Oh, it was so good. It was, this guy, I forgot who said it. It was so good. It was about an iPhone. And he was like, yo, this is like, we're very similar to like an iPhone, right? When you're on 100%, like you're feeling good, right? Like if we're out on my phone's on 100, I could watch YouTube, I can go on Instagram, I can go on FaceTime. I'm good, right? Now, as that battery slowly starts to deplete, you're like, damn, like I probably should find a charger, but there's no outlet, right? I can't do it. So now this is like us in our life, like slowly starting to burn out, right? Like we were at 100 and now we're getting to 50. Now, when you're out, there's no charger in sight, you don't have a car to charge it, and you're on like 10%, right? You can either just put your phone on airplane mode and know that I'll have enough to get home if I need GPS or something like that. Or you can use your phone until it completely goes to zero. And the only way to get that phone back on is to plug it back to the source. And that's what we do. Like we go from 100 to zero, but never plug ourselves back in, which is doing nothing and shutting off. And I was like, because I just felt that. Like I'll go until there's nothing left, but me having nothing left sets me back than if I would have at 50% just like threw it on the charger.
Whoa. No, wait. A thought just came to my mind now. Like, look at the extra layer here. Mm-hmm. You go, like, how many times do we go through life with that battery level, right? And at times, there's times to when we're on 10% that we have to push through, and you know, I got to get home, so I got to text the person or whatever that looks like, and I got to get this project done, so I'll bring my energy to zero. But then other times it makes sense to recharge. Hey, let me rest so I can get back to 100. But how many times do we put it in the charger, and that charger is not something that actually fills us back up? It's just cheap, right? It's cheap dopamine, cheap rest.
Right.
I do this so often until I realize, like, oh, you mentioned the source. And for me, the source is God.
Yeah.
And like, what if we just recharge with God? Because God doesn't just give you the 100%, he gives you the battery packs as well.
Right.
There's multiple battery packs. You get multiple lifelines when you start to plug into God. And that's a lot easier said than done. That's more of a, that sounds like a bumper sticker, right? But the more I can remind myself of that, I'm like, yo, that's like the supercharger. I could get to 150 with God. I can't get to 100. I can't get past 100 with any other source.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's like buying a cheap charger from like 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
and like
it just ruins your phone.
It ends up fucking your phone up in the future,
Yeah.
you know. But like, it was $2 instead of like going to the Apple store and buying the $50 charger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Good shit. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Where do these thoughts hit you most? I know you said the shower. That's why I keep a whiteboard in my shower now, because it's like, it's really where the stuff sparks. And sometimes I'll even have inspiration and I'll have to run out of the shower to like write it on my phone. So the whiteboard has been super helpful. Just make sure tactically, if anyone does that, keep it away from where it could get wet, because it won't write if you get the whiteboard.
Right.
But,
Yeah. Shower drives by myself, but it goes back to what we were saying, like when I just shut off.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes like I'll like judge myself, like, because we're, like, bro, we're former athletes, so it's like we always have this like mentality, like if I'm not doing something, someone else is doing something, and then they're gonna surpass me. So like that carried into like business and personal life, where like I always need to, and that's affected my relationships too. Sometimes the best thing you can do in a relationship is do nothing or take a step back. But like that innate just like anxious attachment thing that I have built inside of me to always want to be in control and like make sure everything's good. Sometimes like I've pushed women away because sometimes maybe it was too much, when if I just took a step back, they would come to me because they like to chase also, but because I'm so afraid to lose people, I want to make sure I love you.
Sure.
And when you do that too much, especially to someone that has never felt that type of love or care for before, it scares them. And so that mindset has kind of rubbed all around me in my life, and it's kind of bled into different areas, and I'm starting to notice it because it's now like maybe catching up to me at some points in relationships, maybe in business, and then even like with the relationship I have with myself, with burning out and stuff like that. And it's just like, I think it's just good to sometimes like just shut off,
Sure.
Because that's when those downloads come in.
Yeah, that's good, man. Where are you at right now? Like checking in with you right now, just like I feel like you and I have just been talking a lot more in like a business lens, but like,
yeah,
what season are you in? How you feeling?
Dude, I feel good. I also feel like bipolar at times.
Okay.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like I'm diagnosed bipolar, but I feel bipolar at times. Like there's times where I could just wake up and it's just not my day. I don't know why. And I'm just like, damn, this sucks. And I hyper focus on all the negative things in my life. Still in my dad's basement, not where I want to be in my life. I'm 28, don't have a girl, do want a family. The podcast, I'm looking at it from the negative lens because I'm judging myself to Theo Vaughn and Andrew Scholes and impulsive. And then there's other days where I'm like, dude, life is amazing. Like, I'm so happy right now. I could drive to the gym and have like tears of joy in my eyes, like listening to my favorite Creed song, you know? And then like, I'm like, bro, like pre-workout's hidden. I'm about to have a great workout. The sun's out. The podcast is amazing. Like, I love the people I work with. Right. So it's like at the flip of a switch. I could just wake up and just I'm just having that day. So that's one thing I guess I've been like struggling with. It's just like, I don't know why I feel like that sometimes. And I can crawl myself out of that hole and find the light in the dark. But yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. It's just a lot of highs and lows, not much steady.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that nothing changed. No. Right? Like, your situation was the same exact. It was just the perspective of like, and a good Creed song could really do that. No lie, for sure.
Creed and Stained on the way to the gym, hitting pre-workout.
Yeah, no, but I completely understand what you're saying. You're talking to something like, I would probably get diagnosed bipolar. I think my dad is diagnosed bipolar. Wow. So like, I think epigenetically it probably passed on to me. Yeah. But I use it as a tool, man. Like I've no longer, one thing I'm really blessed that I've done enough work to get over all the shame of like why I am the way I am. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Let me use this as a blessing. I'm fucking ADD out the ass. Like, I would say relatively psychopathic business owner when it comes it serves me really well in terms of like, if we want to achieve an outcome, we will achieve that outcome in a lot quicker way. But it also doesn't serve me sometimes with my interactions with other humans. And I've learned to coexist with that and still be an effective leader and still have our team buy in. But it's a lot of trial and error, right? So I think the first thing to do is to rid yourself of the shame that's associated with it. And then the next layer for me, as I've done the work, using somatic therapy and different types of therapies, and also layering psychedelics into it as well at times, is no longer trying to think that I can just get rid of all these emotions. It's just like, that's just not true, in my opinion. Like those emotions, like, for example, you miss a game-winning shot. That's always gonna sting, right? Mm-hmm. But the best performers are the ones that can miss that game-winning shot and immediately focus on the next solution. Immediately, like the elites have the quickest synthesis from like shitty moment to like great mindset. Like that time difference is like minuscule for a lot of these elite players. So I look at that when it comes to the emotional game. It's really about creating space to be aware of it. Yeah, it's the awareness. So like, where I screw up is sometimes I let it linger. And I'm trying to, and then I try and find attribution to it. Like, why am I feeling this way? Instead of just be like, hey, let's talk to God about this. Let's try and not solve my irrational problem through thinking rationally right now. And then let's also just say, hey, thanks anxiety, thanks pain, whatever it is, for showing up. Appreciate you. I'm going to put you to the side right now, though. And just be like, hey, like we need to perform right now. So I appreciate you being here. That's been just like super helpful work. Just literally like talking to the parts of your body. Like I hired a new performance coach yesterday, and yesterday was our first session, and he was like, hey, let's drop in right now. We're good on the record?
Oh, yeah. Cool. I'm just always checking.
He was like, let's drop in. And I would say this is probably the worst season of my life to hire a performance coach, just because we're moving an entire business over to a new platform. Like, it's like the calendar's packed. It's crazy. And then like yesterday at 2:00, was our first session, which is like right smack in the middle of the day, which means it's the best time to hire a coach and the best possible time to have met, right? Yeah. Which is the crazy, ironic paradox, right? So he's like, all right, let's drop in. So we spend 7 minutes, eyes closed, just creating a lot of awareness. And he's like, all right, let's talk to some of these sensations that are coming up. And let's just like actually in your brain intuitively start talking to your heart or your stomach or your legs and what's popping up there. And like the first things that come to mind, and just having conversations. It's been a part of, I talk on the podcast a lot about the internal family systems work that I've been doing, that we, truly have multiple parts of us, and they're warring at the same time. But that's been super helpful, man. Yeah. I don't know I don't even think that there's a win on the other side of it, but I think that like playing the game is objectively better than just letting it swallow you up.
Yeah.
That make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think at least like what I do, and like what you do now with the podcast, I think it's just a beautiful outlet to have, and I'm thankful for it, because those like low moments, right? That seasons of just like constant highs and lows. I have somewhere to like talk about it. That butterfly effect, by me going through a rough time, or me not feeling the best, or going through a heartbreak, or having anxiety, or maybe going through a panic attack, I speak about it, which then makes people feel like they're not alone, and then it helps people. So like it's like almost like sacrificial, or it's like I feel like I try to tell myself like, bro, you're going through these things because like it's bigger than you, and you don't even see the impact that you're having on other people by you being the one like going through the storm.
Sure.
And I think having that, it's like like the best art, the best music was all created like through pain. Some of the best pieces of just moments in history have been created from really dark and painful times. Sometimes it's hard to be creative or be that emotionally invested into something, like when you're feeling so good, because you're like, no, I feel good right now, so I'm not going to change it. Sure. I'm not going to change anything. But sometimes when things get so bad, like that's where that shift starts to happen. Have you ever heard of the region beta paradox?
No.
Really cool concept. And I was like, well, I think this is majority of society. So it was like region beta paradox means sometimes a worse situation is better for you than a better situation. And basically what that means, the examples used were like, say you have an apartment, it's okay. There's a little bit of mold. There's like a runny faucet, but like it's cheap. It's in a decent area. It's all right, so you stay. Now, what if you stayed in an apartment and every night there was someone trying to break into your house? Or what if, every time you flushed the toilet, it overflowed and flooded your house? You'd move, right? So we do that in relationships. Your relationship, it's all right. Yeah, you love your wife, but is she your dream girl? Probably not. You guys kind of argue. Sex is okay. You're not that happy. You guys don't really talk to each other, but you guys are comfortable. If your wife cheated on you, you would leave. Business partners that fuck you over, you would leave. But we do that in our life. Sometimes we stay in this like gray area because like it's not great, but it's not bad. So like I'm not going to change. But when things get so bad, it forces you to change. Yep. And I was just like, I do that, and I think majority of society does it, and that's why people settle, because things aren't bad enough for them to make a change.
Dude, that's so good, because I really relate to that, because I think the worst place to ever be is the middle. At least be at the back of the pack. You'll be more noticed at the back of the pack than living in the middle of the pack,
good,
right? Yeah. And so that was a huge moment for me in my last relationship that I had gotten out of, because things were so like good. They were great at times, and they were never really bad, like ever. But it was just like, I didn't think it was going to go to that next level, because I had just had like emotional numbness. I was going through burnout in my business and all these different things. And I was like, you know what? I have to be mature enough to end this without self-sabotaging and doing something wrong to create a level of pain to change it. And that only comes with like extreme awareness as well. Because most of the times I feel like as young, naive dudes, we'll go fuck it up on purpose just to have enough pain to then change. And then somehow gaslight the girl as it was her fault that we did something bad. It's wild, man. Yeah. So I subscribe to that a lot, because there needs to be some level of pain to change. Change comes from pain. Growth comes from pain. Same thing with the gym, right? It's like, if I can subscribe to that fact, like, okay, I have to break down my muscles to build them. And that's innately true in all different areas of my life. I'm willing to suffer because I know what the outcome could look like. Yeah. It's the same thing with price versus cost. If I'm not willing to suffer now, I'm going to pay a much larger cost. Yeah. Which is why I can't subscribe to the fact that all these 40, 50 plus year olds, they tell me, oh, wait till you get older. You're going to be achy and all this shit. It's like, I want to age like fucking wine. Like, we got Marvin over here. The guy's a stud.
Marvin's at the gym every day.
Looking like you age like wine, dude. Like that, I want to be Marvin. I like, we just met for 10 minutes, but I have to imagine that like you look like you feel good, man. You take care of yourself. I love it. And that's where like I won't subscribe to someone that's, in their 50s or 60s that's telling me that, oh, just wait till you get old. Yeah, of course it becomes harder. But like, is the example you want to set to your kids just because it's harder means that you don't do it? Right. So
yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Yeah, people are, yeah, bro. Change is hard, but change is uncomfortable. But that's the whole point. I mean, it's like the most cliche saying, but like get comfortable being uncomfortable, because I mean that's the only time growth happens.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I just think, yeah, as men, and even just as men, I think that's, like you said, some, like I have to touch the stove. I just think sometimes as men, like we have to fuck it all up. Like you have to, you know, at some point, like down the road, like, because we're like, because I've done that in a relationship sometimes, where like you force yourself into a situation to create the change because you weren't man enough to like create the change. And I've told this story. I'll tell it now because I mean it did like 20 million views. So let's see if it does it again.
Let's get it.
But so I was dating this girl that I really didn't want to be with, and I wasn't man enough to end it. You know, because I thought me staying with her would, and half-assing the relationship, eventually she would just break up with me. And I drove to Texas for college and she drove with me. It was a 30-hour drive. And I'm like knowing that hopefully this distance ends this relationship. But I wasn't man enough to say that. 5 minutes into the ride, she starts hysterically crying. We didn't even leave our hometown yet. And I'm like, why are you crying? And she was like, because I know this is the last time we're going to be together. And that hit me. And I was like, wow. And I got to Texas. She went home the next day after I moved in. And there was a girl that I actually wanted, like, back home. And she finally, like, hit me up. And I would just kind of lie to this girl and say, hey, like, I'm in a meeting with my coach, but I would probably be on the phone with the other girl. And eventually it got to the point where, like, what is happening, you know? And then she ended up breaking up with me. And I was like, I got what I wanted, but it would have felt so much better for me to just be honest with her and end it, because I felt like such a piece of shit by doing that. And I hurt this girl even more by not being honest with her. And then I had to sit with the fact selfishly of like, now I broke this girl's heart. I've been heartbroken before and I got through it. I don't know if she's going to be able to bounce back from this because I know how much she loved me. And it was a very, but bro, I was 21 years old, you know, I learned from it. And that's what I said. Sometimes we have to fuck it up. I'll never do that again. And thank God I learned that lesson at 21 in a college relationship than when I'm 31 married to my wife.
Yeah. Well, I can see why that got 20 million views, because that's...
I was also the most hated man on the internet posting that clip, but I didn't care.
Dude,
it was awesome.
There's something about... there's a level of respect I have for people that everyone, in my opinion, should have for someone that's willing to tell the truth. No matter how much you fucked it up, unless you did something to little children, then I can't forgive you.
Oh, no, yeah. Of course. Of course.
Like, owning your shit is all people ask for, in my opinion. And that's, you know, we're all messed up humans, and we're all going to fuck it up. So that's super respect to you, man. And that shows up in my life. I have to imagine a lot of people can relate to that, because it's like, yo, I took the harder path by trying to finagle my way through this, and hopefully this outcome happens. You're trying to create this immaculate, perfect outcome when all you had to do was just like be honest and be true. Yeah. And I've done that a lot, where you don't want to hurt this person and there's nothing inherently wrong. You don't really have a reason to end it. So you just kind of stay and you hope that something happens, that like maybe they come out and do something wrong, and then you have an opportunity. Where it's just like, you're not wrong for... Even if there's something like this person's a good human, just because they're a great human doesn't mean that they're your person. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you have to be with them for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. It's actually selfish to be doing that, to string somebody along and just, you know, just for your own security. It's the definition of insecurity at the same time, right? It's such a funny little thing, man.
No, it's important, man. Like, I think we don't realize that like friendships and relationships have like seasons, you know, and some people carry over to the next season and like some people don't, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to hate each other. You don't have to have, but just some people aren't supposed to be with you forever. Yeah. And sometimes like you needed that person for that season in your life, or maybe they needed you. I think we selfishly always look at it where like, oh, this person is in my life for a reason. We don't ever realize like maybe we're in their life for a reason, and maybe they end up hurting us, but we were a key factor for them to become who they needed to be just for that season, you know? And I think that's like it's just something that I've tried to tell myself, because like I never took losing people well. Since I lost my mom, I've always had that kind of like anxious attachment, or like scared to get close to someone because I didn't want to lose them. But as we get older, bro, like there's heartbreak. We're going to lose friends. Friends are going to fuck you over. People that you never thought you would be friends with 5 years from now, they could be some of the closest people in your life. And you have to just, like, when someone's there, just be present for that relationship and try to appreciate it the best you can. Be the best person to them, even if they're not the best for you, because like at least you could walk away from the situation and be like I did my best, I was honest, and if they didn't want to be here, that's all right.
Dude, yeah, 100%. Because like it goes back to your price versus cost thing. Like, what's the cost of trying to avoid building relationships just because you don't want to risk getting hurt or losing someone? Yeah. The cost would be not having relationships. What's a worse scenario? I would much rather take the risk of losing someone than not having somebody in the first place. And I think a lot of the times we don't take risks because we're scared of the next level of the outcome. But what if it all went right? And most of the times when it does go wrong, it's a lot less worse than the way we play it in our head.
Yeah.
I wrote something down September 19th of 2021. So I took a bunch of screenshots of, like I told you, I'm cleaning house of a lot of my previous notes. But I'm screenshotting a lot of the and archiving a lot of the ones that I really liked.
So 4 years ago, almost to date, like this week, 4 years ago.
That's crazy. So 4 years ago, I'm 24. Right now I'm 29 now. I'd be 25. I'd just been turning 25.
Wow.
This is right after I sold my first company. So this is like, I'm starting to understand the personal development game a little bit.
Is this Miami, Antonio?
This is right before Miami.
Yeah, because you guys moved like that October.
Yeah, this is like just when I'm meeting Jake. Like I'm going through these notes and like right before that note is like my prep for mine and Jake's first ever dinner and going through the consistency wins videos. I'll show you all. It's wild. But I wrote down, success doesn't care about the validity of your excuses. Where am I? Where do I want to be? And what changes do I need to make to get there? What I didn't fully understand was what do I need to subtract? I always didn't get like, what did I need to add? Yeah. That's something if I could go back in time, I would focus on subtraction as opposed to addition. If you try to avoid the pain, you sacrifice any chance of overwhelming joy. If you try to avoid the pain, you sacrifice any chance of overwhelming joy. Perfect example. If you try to avoid the pain of losing people in relationships, you sacrifice any chance of ever being in a relationship in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's so good. That's like it's funny. This is what I'm saying, bro. I'm such like a consumer of like podcasts and content and like things that I relate to my life. Take things from books. You ever hear like the Cow and the Buffalo?
No.
Cow and Buffalo. It's like a great thing. Cause like I take like stuff that sticks with me that I could listen to 3 years ago. It's like a song, you know, like you could not listen to a song for 5 years. As soon as it comes on, you know every word. Yep. But I couldn't remember a definition in biology that I learned yesterday, yep. You know, because we don't care about certain things, but the things that hit us and resonate with us, we remember. So there was this thing, Cow and the Buffalo theory, where in the Midwest, like when there's tornadoes, like in Kansas and Nebraska and Oklahoma, there's like cows and buffaloes obviously in the field. And what the cows do is when that tornado is coming, they run. They run from the tornado. They run from the storm. Eventually, the tornado is going to catch you. You're a fucking cow. You know, you're not getting sure. away from that. The buffalo, what they do, they like herd up and they stay in the storm. Whether they might lose some of their herd, but the ones that stuck through and let the storm pass them, what's on the other side of a storm? Beautiful. Sunshine. Yep. Green, grass, birds are chirping. But that's what we do in our life. A lot of people are the cow. They try to run. It's going to catch you. You can only run for so long. But like we need to be more like the buffalo. It's like, all right, some shit's happening in my life right now. Let me face the storm. So, because once I get past this, like life's going to get a lot better. And I was like, because I was that person that ran for so long. You know, and now I'm just like, all right, whatever. Let's figure it out.
The only way past is through, man. The only way you can get there is through. The finalization of that one little segment that I wrote there, because this is something that I wish I pinned for my whole life. If you squeeze an orange, what comes out?
Orange juice. Whatever's
inside of it, right?
Yeah.
What does it look like when you get squeezed? So if I conceptualize that, it's like when somebody squeezes me, when I'm under pressure, does all my anxiety come out, or does all my resilience? What about me when I get put under pressure, when I get squeezed, what comes out? And so when I conceptualize that, I'm like, all right, cool. No matter how painful it is, let me work so that when I get squeezed, because now I have a different metric, because I really want kids. I'm not ready to have kids right now, but I really want to be a dad And so when they see their dad getting squeezed and get put under pressure, how does he respond? Is those are some of the most defining moments of a child's life. The reason why I am the way I am today, part of it is because I observed the way that my dad was when he got put under pressure. And sometimes he responded great and sometimes he didn't. And I love him for it. I hated him for it for a while too, but then I realized that he's just an older kid. He's just going through life the first time as well.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what I'm trying to get at, but it's just it's crazy how a lot of these things still ring true today. And the more you reread these from a different lens and perspective and different experiences, they hit you at different points of your life. Why do you think everyone goes and still to this day is reading Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, all these things? Like, those are timeless principles. So that's something I've been super focused on, is really understanding principles in life, because those don't change. It's like you can learn marketing strategies all day. We could figure out how to hack the TikTok algorithm, but nothing at the end of the day is going to beat good content, or nothing in business will ever beat building good relationships, or nothing in life will ever beat telling the fucking truth. So how can I dial down to first principles and simplify it so much, and then everything else kind of takes care of itself?
Yeah. No, that's good. It was that did you hear that from Wayne Dyer?
You know what? I learned a lot of this, crazy enough. When I first got into entrepreneurship, my first taste of it was network marketing.
Okay.
I was in Amway for like a year. And like, I didn't love the business model, but I loved the personal development. It was like a crash course in personal development. So I was always listening to these, Bob Proctor, probably Wayne Dyer stuff. Like, yeah. And that's definitely where it comes. That's not original intellectual property.
No, yeah, that was because I remember it was so funny. That was our first million view clip ever, when Jake told the orange juice story. I don't know if you remember that.
Really? No.
Yeah. So he shot the entire episode out of focus. So like, he wasn't in focus. His microphone was in focus because we didn't have autofocus on. So he's completely blurry. We still, because the episode was so good, we were like, we have to release this. And he said this orange juice thing where he's like, when I squeeze an orange, what comes out of it? I was like, orange juice. And then he was like, he just went on this absolute rant. He's like, if my girl's on the period at 1 p.m. or 10 p.m., like, he was just going in absolutely insane.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the comments,
dude,
it was like, this is why they shouldn't hand out podcasts.
Yeah, podcast mics should be more expensive. Yeah, that's what they said.
Funny.
But it was so funny. But the message of what he was saying is whatever's inside of you is what's going to come out. So we're always worried about the external, how our hair looks, how our skin looks, how we're dressing, whether we have this on. That's all external, materialistic. But like, a lot of those people that are focused on that are ugly on the inside.
Yep.
And you can see it, man. I think that's another just big trait, is like just being a good judge of character. Yep. And like being able, like, I feel like I'm very good at that, of like, immediately when I meet people, I can kind of get a sense of who they are. And then maybe I'll like go through the relationship a little bit, and I'll be like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I judged them too quick. And then eventually my intuition, my gut, it was right. Yep. And I was like, I knew it.
Do you think it was intuitive, or do you think it's come from experience, or both?
I think a little bit of both.
Sure.
I think you have to get burned a couple of times. You have to have some bad apples in your life just to know what to look for. But I think there is just this like innate instinctual ability that I have. I know my dad has it. My dad's really good at that. And he kind of instilled that into me as a kid, of just like, I would bring a friend over the house and he'll be like, why are you hanging out with him? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he'll be like, don't hang out with him anymore. And then, even maybe the kid never did anything to me, but a couple years later, fucked it all up, did something terrible, ended up being like that bad apple. And he was like, I told you about him. I knew it. And it's crazy that like, as we're younger, we don't see that. And that's why our parents try to teach us the right way. And it's funny, as now that we get older, we're like becoming more like that.
It's tough. You can't circumvent wisdom at times, right? You earn wisdom through experience. But then the cool thing is like, eventually you can earn wisdom quicker through other people's experience with mentorship, which is why I'm so keen on podcasting, listening to podcasts, learning from people that are wiser, that have been through more experience. A funny story, because I've pretty much only learned that concept through experience, because my intuition has always been like a mega trusting individual, mega trusting, just always taking people at face value, which I think it has its merit. There's a good quality to that, but other times, like, I almost like, it's like almost masochistic. I almost voluntarily let myself get fucked over at times, right? So the first like mega impactful, tangible way that I saw this was when I started playing poker. and started playing with higher stakes, realizing that not everyone tells the truth. I was never able to like pick off bluffs really well. And then I started to really understand how people, they're lying, and there's nothing wrong with lying in the game, right? Yeah. But that was a painful way of being taught a lesson. And you have a immediate response because I don't want to lose more money. So let me go figure out how to be more discerning when I'm understanding individuals. But then I had this crazy, profound experience. I'm going through my morning routine a couple weeks ago, and usually my morning routine is complete silence and enjoying my time. I'm journaling. I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm writing my book right now. I'm enjoying myself. And I somehow get caught on my Facebook messages. I don't go on Facebook at all, bro. Like never mind. I maybe go on Facebook once a month. I don't go on my Facebook messages maybe once every 6 months.
Yeah, because it's like a separate app.
Yeah. And half the time it's like bots, right? It's a whole separate app, which makes no sense. I don't know what Zuck's doing. But regardless, I somehow find my old conversations with my ex-girlfriend from like the 10th grade. And back in the day, I only communicated with people via Facebook, which is so, I don't know why. Because I guess I used to be such a little fuck up that my parents would always take my phone. So I would only have a computer to be able to write, or like my iPod Touch. Right. And that's before like iMessage, right?
Right.
That's when iPhone still had green text messages.
Yeah.
So
AIM profile. Crazy,
right? Yeah. This is post AIM, early iPhone years. So like BlackBerry and shit.
Yeah.
So
BBM.
So regardless, that actually was awesome because now I have all the archives of like all my Facebook messages, and like, wow. I mean, thankfully, no, it's not wildly public information because it's wild. But I spend the entirety of my morning routine, somehow 3 hours, bro. I was like crazy. I was like, what am I doing? I wake up 3 hours later. It's like, now it's 9 in the morning because I think I was early, but I'm just going through years of conversations with this girl. And I'm like, yo, she had fucked me over hard, like fully was taking advantage of me the whole time. But the entire time I'm reading all these conversations, I'm like screaming to my younger self, like, yo, it's so obvious. And everyone that I was talking to around me would always make fun of me because I was with this girl for like 5 years, back and forth, just like, and she would take advantage of me the entire time. And I was just so blind to it, but everyone around me could see it. And it's like, one, the wisdom thing, right? Like my parents were even like, yo, you can't hang out with this girl. So I'd have to like sneakily hang out with her. Like, and I thought they were just out to get me, right? So sometimes we can blind ourselves, but then two, if we can truly look at ourselves as like from an observer lens at times and zoom out and objectively look without our emotions, it makes things a lot better, right? You can cut a lot of time wasted out for sure.
It's so obvious because I get a lot of messages of like people going through heartbreak, people going through, their partner cheated, and like some, I can't respond to every message, but a lot of people I respond to, I'm like, yo, remove yourself emotionally from the situation. I know it hurts right now, but just remove yourself. If someone is treating you poorly and someone's cheating on you, and someone is not like giving you the love that you want, remove yourself emotionally from it. Treat yourself like if your friend told you about this situation. What advice would you give your friend? You'd probably tell them to leave. Now give yourself that advice. But we can't do that because it's so hard when we're emotionally invested and we love someone. Even if they're treating us wrong, we'd rather stay in pain than lose them. But that's the thing. Like I did that. I mean, that was 10th grade. Shit. Good thing you learned that in 10th grade. I did this 2 years ago with a girl. Yep. I stayed in something where Jake was like, bro, I hate this girl. All my friends were like, bro, are you serious? The stories I would tell them. But I just like stuck around, because I thought she could change. She never changed. Of course she didn't. Yep. It got so bad that she had to go on vacation with her ex and tell me she was with her grandma. And I look at his Instagram profile picture because she's sending me pictures of the backyard of the Airbnb in Puerto Rico. It's the same fucking backyard he made his profile picture. And I was like, that's it.
Bro, I saw that clip. That clip did well, right? Like that was a wild story. I maybe I watched the whole video.
That did 7 million views.
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy story.
But it took for her to go on vacation with her ex after all the nightmares that she put me through for a year. I was only with her for a year, and it was endless stories. But it was just like, why? Why can't we remove it? I think that's like, if you can do that, just remove yourself emotionally from anything like business, relationships, friendships, your passion, and just look at it like objectively, you can think so much clearer.
Yeah, but there's no way to like you can't master it. It just evolves. Right. So it's like, because you can't just remove yourself. I think it's objectively bad to try and remove yourself emotionally for everything. Because like the emotional side of it's what matters. That's why like think about it. On the other side of it is awesome amount of love. So imagine removing yourself emotionally from receiving all of that. Right. So you have to just be able to manage the dichotomy, but how you analyze the situation, you do need to be able to use it as a tool, right? Removing yourself emotionally doesn't need to be the overall state. It needs to be a tool in your toolbox,
right?
That you can bring out and say, cool. How do I handle this? How can I use this as a tool to move forward, not a state of being?
Right. That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't want to be numb, like you've spoke about.
Because I think the solution, and this is at least my personal thought through my experience, has been raising your standard. Like the only way to continue to evolve, because like that shit still happens to me, dude. Like you're so blinded by it, and you know, whether it's with a relationship, a girl, business, like the writing's on the wall somewhere that you're not. Like I think a good question to prompt on for anyone that's listening to this podcast, a good journal prompt would be, where in my life is the writing on the wall, and what do I like? What should I be sacrificing that I know I should be letting go of that I'm not really willing to, right? Get real with yourself, and that comes, and you got to use that. You got to whip out the tool in the tool belt. That's the Batman belt, right? Like let's remove ourselves emotionally for that. But raising your standard for me has been like what it's come to really help me with is defining who I don't associate with, what I don't do, what I'm not about. It's defining what level I'm playing at, essentially. So I shift my frame first. And a lot of this, I look at it in a business lens, but I think it translates everywhere to life, where it's like, if I shift my frame, for example, I'll use a tangible example with our business. When we first started, we shifted the frame to saying we only work with people doing 7 figures. That was the hardest frame shift I've ever had in my life, because if you had a pulse, you could be a client before. When you shift the frame, you then create a new floor for yourself. So the floor starts getting raised. Anyone below that floor, you have to say no to, whether that's a client or whether that's a relationship, whether that's someone that you're trying to bring into your life. They no longer meet your standard. You can give them the opportunity to get up to that floor, right? Like I want everyone to be a part of my tribe, but if I let you be a part of my tribe and you're below the floor, you are lowering the vibe of the entire tribe. Right. So it's my job as the head chief of my tribe, at least, to protect our tribe, right? So, and then you start to shift your focus as well. So it's the 3 F's: frame, floor, focus. And if I could consistently upgrade that in all the main areas of my life, it's going to evolve all the time. So like when we first started in business, that frame and that floor was a 7-figure business owner. Now it's an multi 8 or 9-figure business owner now. So like this week, I had to say no to 5 people making $5-6 million, which is so hard. It was like, those were my dream clients, right? So like those are, and it's the same thing as like in a relationship. You're going to say no to that hot girl because that's not what you're looking for anymore. You're not just looking for someone that's empty, that doesn't want to have those that doesn't want to have hard conversations or grow with you or challenge you as a human. So it shows up everywhere in your life. And I think by raising your standard, the standard becomes more important than your feelings almost.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really good.
Where else should we take this thing? We're about an hour in. I mean, we could go for as long or as short as you want, but my whole big focus has always just been subtraction of recent. So like I'm always finding ways like, if this process is 10 steps, how can we dial it down to 3?
Yeah.
Or how can we take this timeline and condense it down? Because then it shifts the frame of like 90% of the shit that we're doing probably doesn't even need to be done.
Yeah. Addition by subtraction.
Yeah. Where in your life do you need to subtract right now?
What do I need to subtract? I think I need to do a better job of letting go of people that really don't want to be there, and they're only there because I bring them some type of value. And I think it's just meeting people where they're at. Like I'm kind of at the point, like I'm done being the initiator. I'm done being the person always trying to salvage the relationship. And it's like, if I didn't reach out or I didn't text you, we wouldn't even be friends, or, you wouldn't be in my life. And, I think I need to start subtracting certain people from my life. And, I think the best way to do that is just like let them feel your absence. So it's not, you don't have to tell them, hey, I don't want you in my life anymore. You just remove yourself. And then your absence and the impact that you had on their life, they'll start to feel that when you don't give it to them anymore.
Yep.
And I think that's like a big thing, because I think I put too much energy into other people where it's not reciprocated. And we only have so much energy to give, and I'm just tired of pouring into everyone else's cup. Like I want to pour into my shit now.
Yeah. And it's an interesting dichotomy to manage, right? Because like, I know the reason why you're saying that, it sounds more selfish than I think you lead it on to be, right? Like part of it's selfish in a good way. Like you need to take care of yourself. But I know like what you're saying, at least from what I'm interpreting, is like you need to focus on pouring into yourself a lot more so that you can pour into the right people. Right. It's not like you're just like, yo, fuck people. Like I'm out. Like I don't want to talk to you, all this stuff. And then how do we manage that, right? Of like stepping away from people. One, we owe it to them because they like, if there's someone that I love they're not reciprocating, like I'd rather owe it to tell them or let them feel my absence. And if that relationship was meant to be, they'll come around because I've tried. But how do we do it in such a way to where we don't have an ulterior motive and we're doing it for ourselves?
Yeah, like the Robert Glover, Dr. Glover.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah,
it's a manipulative, it could get manipulative,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a strategy to it, right? Like there's hey, let me pull away so that I can be more magnetic. And I've just kind of like stopped subscribing to the whole like, yo, let me think about the strategy of how to do this shit. Like I'm going to be authentically myself. And I know that's probably going to get me burned more times than not, but I'm okay with that because like I'm a loving individual. Yeah. I'm a loving dude. Let me be more discerning. Let me not be foolish or stupid. But yeah, dude, it's
because that's how I live.
Tough,
that's how I am. I'm just like naturally the person that like, I'm just like, yeah, bro, like I'm not trying to play games with you.
Yep.
I'm not trying to like be strategic with people in relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be me. And it's like, if this is too much for you or it's not enough or you don't like it, like that's okay. But at least I'm being me. At least I'm not creating a version of myself that I think you would like, where eventually that act is going to run out. I'm going to eventually one day have to be myself. And if you started to fall in love or start to really like the person that you thought I was, what happens when the real me comes out? You're like, whoa, who is this? And so many people do that. They put on a mask because they want people to like them. And it's like, if that person doesn't like you for who you are, that's okay. There's 8 billion other people in the world. And maybe 10% of them will like you for you and the rest don't. There's nothing wrong with that.
Timestamp that bitch. That one's going viral. So it's funny, dude, everything that you say leads right into like another screenshot, which is crazy. So here, I'm going to read another screenshot. Right. This is from October of 2021. And I don't know if I completely embody all of this, but this was my mindset at the time. So the truth is, not everyone around me likes me, but it's undeniable that if you're around me, you will win. I hold my circle to the highest standard. We had talked about standards. And if you can't handle that, then you're just not cut out for this shit. This may rub people the wrong way, which is completely understandable. But winning doesn't always come in the form of being nice. It comes in the form of radical accountability and holding yourself and others to the highest of standards. I've acknowledged that my obsession for achievement isn't always the most sustainable way to live, but it's better than being a loser. Those were my thoughts in 2021. I'm sure that I was in like something had happened for me to like, maybe I was listening to a little bit more aggressive music when I was writing that and stuff. Is like, and I think I've really honed it in over the years of like taking that same concept and still being radical about winning. I love winning, bro. I'm an athlete. Like we're here to win. I mean, like look at like people, when you read the Bible, let's go down to the best being to ever live on planet Earth. I think it's objective across all religions that Jesus, whether you believe he was God or not, was the best physical human to ever have lived on Earth. Homie wasn't that nice. He flipped tables. He got angry. He was there to just come and tell the truth, and the truth will set you free, but the truth is fucking harsh, man. The truth comes with pain. And so it's on us as leaders to tell people the truth and to embody the truth and to live our truth. And that's not always as sexy as people make it feel. Yeah. You can be compassionate. You can be empathetic, but you can't always just be nice. That's why the Dr. Glover episode, that's the differentiation. So like, if I can go back and write rewrite that, I would still agree with like winning comes in the form of radical accountability. I'm still very secure that that there's a lot of people that don't like me, and I can still feel very secure that it's undeniable that if you're around me, you're going to level up. Ego aside, I've created a lot more security around being able to say it without my ego involved. Like, you've been around me, like we fucking win, dude.
Yeah.
When I'm around you, like that's how I feel when you bring to me, right? You're an intense individual. But I would say, like, my obsession for achievement isn't always the most sustainable way to live. I would have meditated on that a lot more. Because while I believe it's better than being a loser, there's such a better way to live. You can bring that intensity, but I think a caveat that I would add to that sentence would be, how do I become more discerning about what I am intense with?
Yeah.
What am I willing to die for?
Yeah.
That's, dude, Taylor Welch talked about this today. I'm just on a tangent now, but super powerful. He said, the worst thing you could ever do is die for something you didn't really care for. The second worst thing that you could do is live for something that you didn't really care for. And that's just like, it was like, dude, how many times did we where like people die or like sacrifice something for something that didn't really matter, and then you also lived for something that didn't really matter?
Yeah.
So like, how do we create a level of discernment to truly identify what matters in our lives? And I think there's those core things, right? Like family, our passion, our business, like relationships. But then in the micro, I think just like taking stock, man, it's that's been a challenge for sure. Like,
yeah.
How do I take stock in my life? And I think it just comes with getting really fucking real with yourself, dude.
Yeah.
Really real.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Look.
Me versus me. Because like, as much as I tell myself I'm not lying to myself, I'm lying to myself half the time, dude.
We're our own worst enemy majority of the time.
All the time.
You know? And our wrongdoings to ourselves is way worse than anyone else can really do. You know? Someone fucks you over, it's whatever. Most of the time it's expected. When you fuck yourself over and like you put your head on the pillow at night, or you have to look in the mirror, that's where it gets hard, you know? Because it's like, I did this to me.
Yep.
You know? So not only do I have to crawl myself out of this, I also have to learn to like not judge myself for this either. Because someone else does something to you, what are you going to do? It was out of your control. When you willingly do something to yourself and it was in your control, and then it negatively affects you or the people around you, that's a weight that you have to bear. And you have to be able to like give yourself forgiveness, you know, because we're going to keep fucking it up until we die. But like, I think if you can eventually just forgive yourself, because like, bro, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, like that's not a permission slip to just be a terrible human and like continue to do the same shit.
Right.
Right. But it's something where, you know, relentlessly pursue, and there's going to be some collateral damage in the pursuit of it. But I think what it really comes down to is the intention. Right. Like something I had to really come to grips with was like, as much as I'm fucking this thing up, I'm a good person.
Right.
I got to a point where like I was thinking that maybe, am I not a good person? But you know what? You know what is the simplest way to tell that you're a good person? You feel it.
Yeah.
If you don't feel it after you fuck something up, or you fuck somebody over, or lie to someone, or do stuff, if you don't feel, if you rather feel good about it, or you just don't feel it at all, then you got a problem.
Right. And if you're the person doing that, you usually don't even realize that you're not feeling it.
Yep.
So then you don't ever know that you have a problem. And that's why you continuously fuck people over.
Yeah.
Because it became your norm.
It's borderline psychotic, right? And that's where I thought I was for a little bit, because I was so numb. I was using everything else as a numbing agent because I didn't want to get real with that shit. Yeah. I didn't want to face it. So it was like, I was just kept finding cheap dopamine. I was basically living as if my phone was on 50% the entire time. Mm-hmm. I just kept charging it right. I was like, get down to 40, or I would just like, I bought a shitty charger that would never actually positively charge my phone, but it would always keep it like, it would always keep it baseline, right?
Yeah, it just stays there. Because a lot of those chargers do that.
Yeah. Oh shit, dude, it's
funny.
wild. But
yeah, kind of just what you said. I mean, that's the first thing that came to my mind was the like Jordan Peterson quote, where it's like it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yep.
And that's kind of what that is. Where he was like, you know, it's good to have those warrior mentality attributes to you, right? When needed, you have it. But it's okay to like chill in the garden and still have those tools. But like if you have to go to war and all you have is your fucking little shovel, you have a problem.
Yep.
You know? So I think that's a good healthy balance, is to have that self-reflection, understand, be real with yourself, also have that kind of like stern discernment, right, in your life and within your relationships, but you can also be a good person, right?
Yep.
And like, yeah, I think that's important, man.
yeah, just like being an intensely passionate individual and doing your best to do it with love, being okay with the fact that it's not going to be perfect and that you're going to fuck it up, and that there's the only way you really fuck it up is if you try not to fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
And Landon says this all the time. You can't really fuck it up. You know? Good pod, dude. Good pod.
Great.
This, I think it's just so important to have an outlet for, I think that's what you guys do such a good job of on the journey, is to have a good outlet. Specifically, it seems like a lot of it like addressed towards men. Now, this stuff could be addressed towards men and women, but I only have the perspective of a man.
But women can learn a lot about men through us as well. I get that a lot as well.
Yeah. I have a ton of friends that are girls that say, hey, like, I listen to your pod. It's fucking awesome. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I think there's a lot that people can learn, because like when guys are being real, it provides a feedback loop for everyone.
Yeah.
You know? So I love doing this stuff because it allows me to get all this shit out of my head. Yeah. So like you had mentioned, like it just allows you to just kind of like not have to bottle it up anymore. Mm-hmm. And my brain works when I close open loops. I have a lot less anxiety.
Yeah.
So I got like, I'll show you after, my thing's going to die, but I have like a whole system on how to close open loops. And then like, I like to categorize it. So like, I like to catalog all this. I'm like a little nerd when it comes to like my personal development system.
Yeah.
But closing open loops as a young high performer is huge, because you're just going to like, the inspiration hits all the time. And if you keep it in your head, you're either going to lose it, or you're going to your head's going to explode because all of it lives in your head. Mm-hmm. Write that shit down.
Yep.
Write that shit down. I'm going on a tangent right now, but is there any extra things that you want to throw in there?
I think we
beat a dead horse for sure.
We did it good. No. This was good. Yeah. I think there's plenty, bro. I think hour 9. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was perfect. There's so much shit in there.
I'm loving this shit, man. This podcast has been one of the most perfect outcomes at the most perfect time I've ever had in my life. It was the only intention I had was like 2 things. I need to stay in Tampa longer. So I need a mechanism to stay in my hometown. So that's why I created the in-person podcast. Funny enough, ironically, we're filming this in New York, but
right.
I was trying to travel less, so that that was one of my things. And then 2, I needed a creative outlet that had no destination, that had no like specific timeline that I had to be there.
Right.
That like it wasn't so intense of like, we have to hit this goal by this thing, and like I just needed a place to let my mind wander. And the cool thing is that when that happens and you don't have expectations, results start to pour in.
Of course.
And like, we don't have bajillions of followers or anything like that, but like if anyone knows anything about starting a podcast in person, and if you're not a social media personality, you're legit starting from zero when no one knows you. Yeah. We're hitting some pretty fucking awesome numbers.
Absolutely, dude. Oh, absolutely. There goes the iPad.
All good.
But yeah, bro. I mean, yeah, it's I think this is the hardest thing to do on social media.
Yep.
Just to get random people to listen to you for over an hour.
Yeah. We will crack this YouTube algorithm. Like if somebody else is still listening to the podcast at this point, you're a real one. Yeah. And I want you to reach out, because I'm super appreciative that there's people that have gotten enough value throughout this whole thing that are still here at this point. Because this won't get clipped. This exact point won't get clipped.
No.
Right? Like we live our lives in clips. But if I'm watching a podcast and I really love consuming content, I want to learn about everything in their life, which is why we don't hold back on this thing. So appreciate you for paving the way, man. You've been game changer in my life, dude.
Appreciate
Game
you,
changer,
bro. Yeah, I enjoy it, bro. I like working with you. This is fun. This is like, yeah, just what I do. This is my new basketball,
Yeah.
So like, I like it now. And that's why I like, yeah, bro, this is fun. And just to know like where this thing is going to go is also fun.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm glad like I got in at like episode 4 or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
pretty cool now. So like, this is like my other baby. This is like my second child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the cool thing, because like I typically live in a state of blissful dissatisfaction, right? So like in my business, I'm like happily dissatisfied, cool with where we're at, but excited for where we're going, knowing that like we gotta keep rolling. I'm actually really blissfully satisfied with where we're at, and on top of it, know where we're going and super excited about it.
Yeah.
So like, for one of the first times in my life, I have something that could truly keep me present, that I'm not married to the outcome, because the outcome is just producing.
Yeah.
Like, how do we turn ourselves from consumer, which I'm a massive consumer of content and all this stuff, into producer? And that will take care of itself if the true vision and the goal is to simply produce and produce, refine, so that we can really get a good product out there to people, with the intention not of just always having to serve our self-interest, but to actually deposit value. And in return, hopefully we get our self-interest served by getting views, building a business out of it, all that type of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. No. But the intention right now is that somebody's still listening and that their life was changed. The little light bulb came off. And I'm okay with that. So,
and the cool part is, we may never know. We may never know. But that's it's the intention.
Yep.
If that's the intention of it, if someone is here or someone's not here, we'll never know.
Yep.
But if they are, amazing. If they're not, we had the right intention.
Yep.
And that's why it's cool.
So good. You can't fuck it up. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Zach, you are a blessing in my life and a blessing in so many other people's lives. Go check out Zach's podcast, The Journey. Zach's starting to become a lot more of like a personality on the pod. I want him to be somebody that everyone's familiar with, because he brings a lot of value to the show. He does such a good job of asking questions. And he's just been a blessing in everyone's life. And he's been a huge reason for the podcast success. So go follow him. Appreciate you. And like and subscribe. We love you. Do the whole thing. And have a great week.